Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the Algebra 1 concept of lines parallel or perpendicular to axes. This is standard A.2G in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 32 of the 2018 released STAAR test. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. So we have a line here that we need to find the equation and the slope for. And so let's just graph all of these real quick. And then we will look at the slope. All right, so when I'm looking at y equals 6, what that means is that this is actually going to be, either way to say it would be parallel to the x-axis, because the only thing that's defined here is the y-coordinate. So my y-coordinate is 6. And no matter what my x-coordinate is, the y is going to be 6. Well, obviously, that's not the line that I drew. So I could say that this is parallel to the x-axis because it's always parallel to the opposite axis. So the equation says y equals 6. So the parallel is to the opposite axis, the x-axis. Or I can actually describe this as being perpendicular to then the axis that is actually named, perpendicular to the y-axis. So here's my y-axis and here's my right angle. Right, so here's my y-axis and it's actually perpendicular to that y-axis. So that is not the line that I'm looking for. And so you notice that I've got that on F. I've also got that on H. Right, that y equals 6. So we can just cross off F and H. So let's look at x equals 6. All right, so my x-coordinate is going to be 6, and no matter what my y-coordinate is, my y could be 5, my y could be 0, my y could be -3, my y could be -7, my y could be -2, it doesn't matter. No matter what my y is, my x is going to equal that -6, or that 6, positive 6. So that's helpful. But you notice that we've got the difference here of what is my slope. Okay. Well, slope, remember, is rise over run. Or we can think of change in y over change in x. So you know what? Let's just take 2 points and let's just map it out here. So that is x of 6, y of 0. And I don't know, let's just do the one right above it. X coordinate is 6, y coordinate is 1. All right. So if I wanted to find the slope, right, what I would do is let's make this x sub 1, let's make that y sub 1, x sub 2, and y sub 2. All right, so if I'm wanting to find my slope here, right, so that is going to be, my y, 2 is going to be 0, minus 1, and then my x2 is 6, and that is 6. And you see, that's a problem. So that equals -1 over 0. Well, if you try to divide anything by 0, pull out your calculator if you've never tried this. Try to find -1, and that's with 0 groups. 0 groups of -1. You're going to get an error message on the calculator. And it's going to say, we can't do that. It's actually impossible to divide by 0, because remember, when you're dividing, right, your fraction denominator is going to show you how many groups there are. You can't have 0 groups of something. So when you are dividing by 0, the calculator is going to give you an error message. The actual mathematical term is actually going to be undefined. When you're dividing by 0, it's impossible. Undefined, that's just another way of saying error. So my answer here is going to be J. Slope is undefined.